Hi, welcome back. It's Laura at Hyperstamper. So I just finished this very chunky journal last night. I've had this for a few years and I didn't want to part with it. Um, if you knew me, you'd know that humor is a huge part of my life. So I loved the title of this book. I loved the graphics. I loved everything about it. The Second Century of Humor from 1934. And it is especially chunky. It's already a wide spine on this, and as you know, I never take my spines apart. I leave the books intact whenever possible. So that's why I don't pierce my spines. I added this really pretty bangle with all vintage beads on them. You can remove that and reuse it, but it's just wonderful. So this one, instead of 4 signatures, which is what I always put in my journals, this one is 5. So it's over 100 pages plus all of the antique ephemera inserts. So probably around more like 110 full pages. Now this is a really special one because I have had hundreds of books that are dedicated from teachers or clergy to students for, you know, awards or achievements. But this one is from a student who has the very highest esteem for his teacher, and I just thought that was lovely. So this one is from a student to his teacher, and I would imagine the teacher probably had a good sense of humor, hence the gift of a humor book. So again, this is from 1934. I kept those original pages intact for you, and there's lots of white space on them for you to journal on. And I was recently asked if it was okay to use my journals for journaling. I know some people use them for art. Some people are afraid to touch them because everything is old to them, but I write on everything when I journal. Every little piece of white space I journal on. So go for it. Do whatever you want with these journals. They're meant to be fun and memorable. So here's a great little receipt from Brooklyn, New York. I hope I got that accent right. 1957. Canadians doing American accents is just a bad idea. So this is a vintage playing card, another little teeny tiny one from the 50s with the kitty cats, little miniature one. I love this little cluster that says Love's Messenger. We've got recipe pages, vintage bird book pages, and vintage coffee cake. Oh, that's cool. Vintage recipe pages. And look at those funny jelly molds. French almanac page there from 1938, and the vintage dictionary page. Wonderful images from 1930s children's book pages. And I put in a lot of clusters here. I love this one because I love raccoons. Isn't that sweet? 1950s bingo card. I have some great clusters down here and some antique crochet. Little hidden journaling spot under here and here. And I put, oh, this is a page from this book. Look how fun the artwork is there. What a great illustration of a jester doing some writing. Kind of me. So I tucked that in there. I thought it was fun. Early 1900s paper here and children's book images from the late 1800s, actually, that one. I have a few Sunday readers. 1937 children's book page here. Oh, look at how pretty that is. Heart Songs. That's from an antique songbook. Vintage sewing book. And just some fun vintage book pages here, tucked into a pocket I made from an antique secret garden. I'm down to the last of those pages because that's such a special book. And this came from a 1905 book here, and it is just a lot of blank pages, so I put it back in. That was from the art education book. That was a journal quite a ways back. Vintage song sheets, antique book pages, antique ledger pages. I love the old tape in here, makes me happy. And this is from the 1961 Theater Arts. Look at that, Phil Silvers and Nancy Walker. And if you're my age, you'll know that she was from Rhoda, and he was just Phil Silvers, famous. Awesome, awesome. When they did a Broadway show together. Just lots and lots of fun stuff. I made a belly band here from a children's book page topper, and just another great antique blank page there with some text on it that has beautiful font. Oh boy, look at this wonderful old postcard, and that is from the early 1900s. And then this is just a really cute children's book page. I love cows, so I put that with some antique paper on the back, and that's all mounted onto a vintage map. And then on this side, I've got this great 1950s magazine page. You'll have lots of fun. Look at the fashion. I would buy that table now. That is fabulous. All these fashions are coming back, so it makes these even more interesting. And this is from 1885, from the Third Reader. And it's a lovely image of otters on the rocks in the water. It's stunning. And it was quite brittle, so I put some antique paper on the back and tucked in. Why waste the space and the opportunity to make a tuck spot? So I put a little receipt in there. There we go. I'm always mindful when I glue things down that if it can be made into a pocket, I try to do that. I could have done it here, but then I would have been covering up the image. So I left that loose. More coming up. Here's a children's garden page from the 1800s and a vintage recipe book page again. Gardening page. And these are two little German bank receipts here from 1922. 100 years old, 102 now, right? 1926 blank ledger piece here. And then I made another little booklet here out of my scraps. I made that pocket out of a doily just by gluing it down bottom and sides. And a vintage botanical book page, really beautiful images there. Another Pearl Shop receipt here mounted on a vintage stamp collector's book page. And this is from the 1905 art education book there. And look at this one under its original onion paper. Isn't that classic? Look at that. A woman of Henry VI, age 1400s. And that book was printed in the early 1900s. Just more of that art education book here. Stunning. And more ledger paper. And at the end here, I've just put in a really fun, colorful children's book page, made that into a journaling spot. And this is just really fun from a vintage furniture book. Isn't that fun? So there we go. I hope you love it as much as I loved making this one. It's on Etsy now, hyperstamper.etsy.com, and I hope you'll subscribe.